Louis Audet's spirit of innovation grew from the inspiration of his father, Henri, who forged a telecommunications empire from the roots of a TV station in Trois-Rivières.
He was an engineer from Polytechnique Montreal and a master's from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So he loved technology.
The eldest of 5 siblings, Louis experienced a formative teenage chapter before pursuing an engineering degree from Polytechnique and landing a job at Bell Canada. Continuing his education, Louis earned an MBA from Harvard in 1979 and then returned to Montreal.
So I joined Cable TV Limited in marketing because that's something that I didn't know, but it became clear that the crux of the matter in business is sales.
Louis soon found his path converging with an unintended destiny at his father's company, Cogeco.
One day, my dad phoned and said, Louis, we have a situation where we need your help. We just lost our sales director. Would you replace him? And that was a moment of serious introspection.
He thought he was not ready yet, and I told him, look, you've worked for 2 big companies and your family business needs your skills. So after a couple of years, he agreed to go to Trois-Rivières.
Louis' guiding star would once again place him on an unexpected path to meet his love, Jocelyn.
We had an open house at the television station. When she came in, there was lightning. I was struck.
Louis se présente à moi et il me fait débuter mon curriculum vitae, sans doute pour s'assurer que je répondais à tous ses critères.
But eventually, I mellowed down and we had our first date.
Et Louis et moi avons commencé au bas de l'échelle avec des dettes d'études importantes. Chacun travaillait rigoureusement dans son domaine. Louis dans l'entreprise familiale et moi en relations publiques. Ce fut donc toute une aventure pour nous de s'adapter à notre nouvelle vie.
As Cogeco continued to grow, new opportunities began to emerge.
We embarked on a very demanding project, and I spent 2 years looking for financing, and it was extremely painful. So when the Quebec Stock Savings Plan was brought about, we said, okay, enough pleading, let's take this company public, let's go.
Under Louis' insightful guidance, Cogeco grew through acquisitions and marked its first major expansion outside of Quebec.
2 big acquisitions in Ontario really changed the company. They were able to buy a cable system from Rogers in Western Ontario, and also another company called Cybernetics, which was a blend of cable and medical labs, which didn't quite fit together.
It's not the biggest company. We all know that. So it has to be much more efficient and judicious in its decisions with respect to the deployment of capital.
It was a pretty gutsy move. Some people thought we were bankrupt, but we weren't. We had to find a partner to buy the medical laboratories, which we did, and we prevailed over all other bidders in this instance.
By 1991, the way the world communicates was about to meet its first major disruption.
Hard to believe for Gen Zs, but at the time, there were only 12 TV channels on cable. The internet was just starting at very slow speed.
We thought we were properly preparing, but when the test arrived, it's clear that we had not. So we went through that transition.
His steadfast focus on where he's going and his sense of direction. He's guided the company through many storms, and this is very impressive.
By 1994, we had our first high-speed internet demonstration over cable as compared to dial-up lines. So you could see the picture on cable appear immediately, and the dial-up would fill in line by line. And in fact, we were the first in Canada to actually demonstrate the feasibility of that.
Henri retired in 1994 as Cogeco continued to acquire cable systems throughout Quebec and Ontario. By 2001, the playing field changed once more.
Hundreds of small cable companies disappeared and were absorbed by bigger ones.
You can see that around 2001, there will soon not be any acquisition opportunities in Canada. what do we do now? And the decision was then, as it is today, we continue building the business we know best by acquiring other cable systems.
Cogeco entered the U.S. cable market, acquiring Atlantic Broadband.
When the company first embarked on that, there was a fair degree of skepticism, let's say. Didn't take long before there were a lot of kudos being thrown around.
His resilience is quite remarkable to find opportunities and then be persistent in cultivating the owners of those companies and to surround himself with people who would be better than him, let's say in finance or in technology or marketing.
Louis donne le meilleur de lui-même, faisant en sorte que la famille Cogeco puisse toujours évoluer et grandir. Nous préparons aussi notre fille Émilie pour qu'elle soit outillée et qu'elle puisse œuvrer comme gardienne de Cogeco et de la famille.
The passage of the baton rests essentially on discipline, and both parties have to remember that it's not about them as individuals, it's about the company. And this is the fundamental ingredient to passing the baton.
As Louis steered Cogeco through waves of innovation and expansion, his compass was equally aligned towards enriching the community.
Louis is a leader not just in what he said and what he's done, but by his very example. He already had in his heart to work on this cause of trying to help people in the depths of distress to try to get on a better line towards the places they always intended to go and not where they were.
We have a very sophisticated safety net in Canada, except there are people who fall through the holes in the safety net. And to me, this is where we can make a difference. This is the last frontier.
And he is emptying his jar of political capital to try to convince people that this should be their cause too. To say, you're not funding the status quo, you're funding it getting better. Housing projects, prevention projects, health projects, projects to make the plight of these people better in the future. We're so lucky that he's been born here, that he's put his excessive amounts of talent to work for our province and our country, and we should be nothing less than profoundly proud of Louis Audet.
Please welcome Louis Audet, inductee as companion to the Order of the Canadian Business Hall of Fame.